at Edge and Node. And oh boy, do we have some guests here today. We've got Rob and Andrew from the Remix team who have been developing Remix IDE for a good amount of time. And so I got started with Remix years ago, and that's been so nice. And then now they're here, and so welcome, Rob. Welcome, Andrew. Welcome to the Graph Builders Office Hours. I am very excited to get to chat with you today, introduce you to Graph Builders Office Hours community, and just have a good time. So, Rob, Andrew, welcome. And how are you doing today?
Good. Spring is in the air. Probably a lot of pollen too.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah,
Me
exactly. I'm
too.
getting some feedback too. The pollen's in the air. I'm in Atlanta, and so that's been a thing for me. Just the amount of eye watering going on. How's your eyes doing, Andrew? How's everything there?
Pretty good. Denver here. Everything's exploding all at the same time. So,
Awesome.
including
Awesome.
Remix and our impending spin out from EF. So we're excited about that too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm getting a little audio feedback. Are you guys getting audio feedback, or is that just me? Just curious.
I'm not getting any.
You're not getting any?
No.
Dave, how Dave is actually a producer on this. He's behind the scenes. Dave, how are we doing? Audio's good? No audio feedback. That's just my headphones. Okay, that's okay. Um, so we're just gonna wait a few minutes while people are filtering in. Hi, hello everyone in the chat. How are you doing today? We've got Jonathan here, Lewis, Harlock. If you guys have any questions, OX Sambit, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Feel free to say hi to the Remix team between Rob and Andrew. The those who are streaming on Graph Devs, those who are online, those who are on YouTube, I can't see questions. If you're dropping them there, please come to the Graph Discord. The Graph Discord is where the audience is. That's where the questions are, and I'll be moderating that and then filtering the questions to Rob and Andrew as we are building. So, in terms of other things, there's a few announcements that we have for developers. If you haven't tried out Token API, that is a new project, a new product from the Graph, and the product is pretty dang cool. Essentially, you're able to get wallet balances, you're able to see transactions really fast, you're able to essentially plug and play. And the endpoints are available, the docs are clean. It's a simple product that works very well, and that is rare in crypto. So, if you are wanting to get token data, if you want to get open, high, low, close volume very fast, go ahead and check out Token API by The Graph. That is a new product. We're looking for feedback. We're looking to build more. We're looking to get more chains integrated. We just added Unichain, so we're excited about that. And that's the only announcement for today. And from there, Rob, Andrew, how you guys doing? And if you could, do you guys have any announcements? Anything that you'd like to share about Remix as a whole? Anything that's been on your guys' frontier?
Well, you can pick that one up, Andy, if you want, or we
I
can
think we
go
could
on.
share that. Yeah, as part of EF's longstanding philosophy of subtraction and spin out of various tech teams, Remix will be spinning out from EF as independent in the next 2 to 3 months. So we're really excited about that.
Wow,
And
that's cool. That's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. That's got to feel change can be healthy, and change is a thankful thing. So that's interesting. And is this has been publicly announced across a lot of channels already? It's hard for me to stay in tune with everything that's going on lately.
not really. This is probably the first public channel that we'd be
Wow.
introducing it in.
All
You
right,
know,
we're
we've
getting
been
some
talking to
breaking news.
close partners, but yeah. So we're close enough that I think we're good to go publicly.
Very cool. Yeah, well, we're getting some breaking news here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. That's ESPN. That tells you how much I watch the news. Anyways, so Rob, Andrew, how did you guys get started developing with Remix? What was that like, working with Ethereum Foundation, working with your backgrounds, and how did that enter into crypto?
I actually I was a web dev before, and before that I was an architect.
Oh,
And
cool.
then I started working at the Ethereum Foundation, and then they said web dev. Oh, you work with Remix, and that was like, was it? Oh, yeah, it was around 2017, so it was a while ago. That was the early days of Remix, and then the team grew a little bit, and we got the engine of it more sophisticated and easier to expand upon.
Cool. Cool.
And but also it came out of this project called Browser Solidity, and it was before I got there, but they just kind of like made the a compiler in the browser mostly for the Solidity team,
Uh,
and then they had some really simple deployment mechanism, and then they didn't think anyone was using it, but then it turned out a lot of people were. So it was a nice surprise, and they like,
yeah.
oh, we have something here.
That's cool. Yeah, I was one of your users. I think it wasn't 2017, it was 2020. I dove in. I was like, "Oh, this is nice. This is very helpful." So, that's very cool. And Andrew, what about you?
I actually got into Remix through a contact with Rob. I
Okay.
was in global development doing like data analytics and building peer-to-peer apps for mostly farmers in Africa and Asia. And we got started getting interested in Ethereum around, yeah, 2017 or so. Um, and then the whole ICO craze happened. Rob and I met up at ETH Denver, did a hack on a carbon token exchange at the
Cool.
time, early days on that, and then ended up working at Remix because Remix really has a great global South onboarding kind of um, audience, and that's exactly where I was placed in global dev. So it's a
Very
good
cool.
fit.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm very excited to learn what you guys have done lately, and I'm excited to see what you guys would like to share with Graph devs and the Graph community. Take it away, guys. Feel free to share screens, talk, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to see you guys take over and
Okay, I'll
see
start
what
up
you guys have to share.
the presentation.
Go for it.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna share. Wait, this one. The share. Wow, it keeps disappearing now. It's hard to make that share window. Come on. Of course, it was a little trouble before we started, and oh no. Technical difficulties.
It's okay. We're gonna figure this out. We will get it.
It, the mouse off event is weird on the share. Uh, Andy, you know any jokes?
You you see that little share button that looks like the up arrow, and
Yeah.
then it says screen?
Oh, I see. I got the problem. Okay. You have to
Yep.
click it to make it to stick it.
There we go.
Okay. You share the you see the screen?
Not yet. Now we do.
There we
Okay.
go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Fancy features and remix. That's one of my favorite titles of a Graph Builder's office hours we've had in a while.
Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. But I could share this later.
Yeah.
I just want to
Perfect.
go to the slideshow. Okay. And I think I'll hide this thing. So here we go. Uh, First, I thought I'd give people just a quick little overview of the Remix interface, just in case you haven't used it. And in case you don't know anything about it, it's an online IDE. So you can just start coding right away. And so, like, there's this side panel, there's the icon panel. If you click over here, then the side panel will swap out. There's this main panel with tabs. There's a console. And to change plugins, to add more plugins, you go to this plugin manager, and you can change the theme and other settings in the settings down there. And we have just recently added this button over here. So if you click this button on a side panel plugin, which was always going to the left side, if you click it, it will go to the right side. And if you click that one again, it will go back to the left side. And also, just so we'll get back to it, but this is the Learneth plugin. It's a tutorial plugin right inside of Remix. And there's also a language chooser, so you can change the language of the Remix interface. Oh, look, there's a little bit of notes in Romanian. So Remix is it's not saving your work. It's only saving it when you're using Remix Online. I'll also get into Remix Desktop a little bit later, but if you're saving it online, it's not saving it. It's just saving it in your browser IndexedDB. So if your browser crashes, you can lose your work. So it's good to, if you're just trying out stuff, it's not a big deal. But if you have a lot of files saved, it's good to either download the workspace or push to Git or work with RemixD so you can connect Remix to your hard drive. This is the hamburger menu in the workspaces part of the File Explorer. Just also note that if you want to clone a repo, that's there, which is also the first little clue I have. So a quick way to clone is you click the hamburger and go here. And it's good to know there's a Git plugin in Remix. It's got, most of the basic stuff. I just kind of run through it a little bit, but you can log in with Git. It's got source control and branches and remotes. And in the File Explorer, I just kind of go this little. Oh, anyway, you can do the diffs in Remix by clicking on a commit, and you'll see the change. You can make new branches, and then there's some branch management in the File Explorer. Also, as I'm rattling away, if you have questions, interrupt me. And if I'm going too fast, interrupt me. And if I'm going too slow, bother me about it too. And you can initialize.
You're doing great. Yeah, no questions so far.
Good. And you can tell if a workspace is Git enabled with that little thing. And you can see that you're logged in if you have your little Git icon there. But there's no rebasing or cherry picking. And so the other part is that I know that when you're developing some graphs, you want to verify the contract on Etherscan. And in Remix, there's this plugin called the Contract Verification plugin that will verify on 4 services at once. But, in the graph, I guess you only need to have it verified on Etherscan. And to do that...
and also Sourcify. Yeah, we've just...
Oh, Sourcify works now.
Yes,
okay.
We just got that working.
Good. So Etherscan, you need to put the API key in. That's what the screen's about. You go to the settings tab of that panel.
I just saw the announcement about V2 with Etherscan, the singular endpoint.
Yeah, that's going to be so much better. We're going to be updating this plugin so that you don't have to have these multiple API keys.
Yeah, that's super nice.
It was, it was very confusing. And there are all these, there's some chains that don't have any login. So I think they're probably going to be overhauling that part of Etherscan. At least I hope they are, because some chains, it's hard to verify, or I don't know if there's the verification service on those chains with Etherscan. But that's to be investigated.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Remix, you can choose what scripts are accessible. Out of the box, I think it's one of the latest version 5 of Ethers, but you can switch it to the version 6 of Ethers. And there's a bunch of different script configurations. And if you want something else in there, contact us. We're very flexible about adding new scripts to work with your project. And here's some plugins for learning. One is Learneth. So that's the this one got activated by the plugin manager, and then you see the icon here, but I moved it over here on the right side. So there are all these tutorials. The cool thing here is that you're playing inside Remix with these tutorials. So wait a minute, go back here. I'll do a demo later about it, but you can kind of play with these Solidity files and then, just kind of veer off the tutorial if you want to. If you want to stay on the tutorial, there are Solidity unit tests that are checking your work. So you can, and then it'll correct you can see the right answer. You can kind of test yourself. Then there's these videos to learn uh, all kinds of things. There's Remix Basics. There's a big, we just uploaded 20 new tutorials about Remix there, but we also have a smart contract programmer who made a bunch of low-level Solidity videos and introduction to Solidity. So there are a lot of good information there to kind of go through, and it's right inside the tool, so you can stop it and then you can play with the contracts, which is like, that's the example of the video. Just so you know how to get contracts into Remix, like you can do clone, which I showed you before. You could also go to the hamburger menu in the workspaces and you can create using a template. And then you get all these choices of templates. And I'll do some demos of that later. You can clone, and then it asks you for the URL. Here's a little quick review of the Solidity compiler. So, I mean, it's pretty much just clicking the button, but if you want to switch the version of Solidity, I think that's the next screen. But you can also do Control S to compile. You can hit the play button to compile. You can right click to compile. So there's, I think, 4 ways of compiling quickly. And once you're in the compiler, you can grab the ABI, which is something else you need for the graph. And if you want to switch the version, the EVM version, or yeah, you select in the advanced configuration. To switch the Solidity version up here, you select it up here. Here's a little primer on, or as we say, primer on Remix AI. So there's code explanations, code assistance, and code completion. And it's kind of good to kind of separate those to try to get the most out of the tool. There's like explaining contracts, explaining errors. Well, I'll go through them. So that's the robot. And if you click the robot and you want to know like what this contract's about, the AI system will pop up and it will tell you. And then compiler errors, these will pop up here. And this will also actually, I think this will work with the Viper plugin if you want to play around with Viper. You can ask Remix AI about that too. And then the answers, like what's going on, will come up in the assistant. And if you right click on some code, you can get explain, this function, it'll explain it to you. And then you can also just ask the assistant. And you can get assistance on request. Oops. So for that, you have to turn that little switch over here on. And you do it do a double slash. Here it's a triple slash, but the new standard that we're doing is a double slash. And then you can ask it you can ask it to write something, and then it will try and write it. And if it'll give you a new answer each try. And to accept it, you just hit tab. Classic stuff. It's using Code Llama on the back end. Or anyway, and you can turn it off if those stuff's bugging you with a switch. And code completion is when that thing is on, when the switch is on, it will just suggest one line at a time. And just so you know, you can use Remix with other tools like Hardhat or Foundry. I was going to say Hardry, but I think I'm going too quickly. So like if you've connected Remix with Remix D to your hard drive, if you're on Remix Online, or if you're on Remix Desktop, it's automatically collected. And if you're connected to a Hardhat folder, in the Solidity compiler, you can click that button to enable a Hardhat compilation. And then you can compile the Hardhat file, and then you can push to GitHub, and your colleagues who are using Hardhat will also, can take it from there. Or you can compile the project, a Solidity file in Hardhat and then compile from, and then deploy from Remix. In the deploy and run, you'll see the contract in the contract section. You'll see compiled by a Hardhat or Foundry, and of course you can connect to the Hardhat chain or the Anvil chain if you have those running locally. And here's just going through some stuff on the deploy and run. I just go through these. So like if you've deployed to a public network, and you open up the deployed instance over here, you'll see this little icon-y thing. And then when you click that, you'll get this main panel plugin called QuickDAP. And that's going to take all your functions that are here in the this part of in the deployed instance and put them here. And then you can put up a little logo, give instructions. You can drag these around the functions. You can get rid of functions and I'll show you that in a few minutes. How to use this tool, but it's like you can make a really simple DAP, and then you can deploy it to Surge and give it a unique subdomain, and then just give somebody that URL. And this is like something that I was talking to Marcus, like maybe something like this could have some graph stuff in there, to GraphQL stuff there as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk
that
more
just
about
looks
that.
nice. I mean, there's so many features you guys you're just shared right now. I mean, like I said, I started in 2020 with it. There's so many more things that this can do right now. It's really nice. It's like it's a suite, really.
Yeah. Oops, wait, going the wrong way. Okay, chain list. So like you want to deploy, but you forget the chain ID. And this is like a plug there, but if you click the plug, it'll take you to chainlist.org. And if you don't see the environment you want or that you expect, go to customize this list in the bottom of the environments pull down. This is called Interno because I think I have this. I guess this is a screenshot from a Spanish when I had the remix in Spanish. But anyway, you could click those and you select the environment that you want to be visible in this pull down menu. It's because this pull down menu, sometimes if you had all of them on, it would get too long. Also, if you see this little icon over here, you can get to a bridge for Optimism and for Arbitrum. And guys should also know about the Ephemery testnet, which is a testnet where they refresh it every month. So if you want to deploy to a public testnet, but want to get if you're having trouble getting test ether, Ephemery is really simple to get the test ether from because they flush it every month. So it's a good option to know about. And we've we have pinning now in the after you deploy contract. That works in injected provider, like the public networks or to the local Remix VM. So if you refresh, remember Marcus, like you would refresh Remix and you'd lose the local blockchain would get flushed. So you'd start at 0 if you refreshed your browser. But now when you refresh it, it saves the state. But if you have this pinned, it will also, and you're connected to the same network when you come back to deploy and run, it will pull up your contract again. Yeah, you have to have the network and the workspace be the same for it to come back. And yeah, it helps when, because otherwise you have to remember your contract's address to use the @address functionality. Did you ever use, Marcus, did you ever use @address when you were using Remix?
I'm trying to remember. Like I said, this is 5 years ago. I do remember being in this screen a whole lot. This deploy and run transactions, I was there regularly. I don't recall that exact feature though.
Huh. Yeah, it's like if you want to access a deployed contract on any chain, you need to have the ABI and have that in Remix or the same source code. and you put the contract, you put the address there, and then it will access that contract, and then you can pull in the functions like it appears here in deployed contracts.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually do remember like drop, copy, paste, drop that in, and then you see all the call, the possibilities to call, and yeah, the
It's a good way
view,
of like
tour, and yeah,
checking out some complex contracts or just famous contracts.
yeah.
And so you can sign contracts here with using this little icon here, and then you can also use the EIP 712 when you sign a message. Um, and you can, this is like a little review of the latest updates to the Remix VM. So because we're saving the state, you can push the state to a remote repo, and then someone else can pull it in so they can see the state of your, the chain that you're playing with locally. And then you can you can fork any chain. And if you use the custom fork, you can pull out is it going to say? Yeah, you can pull out you can, clone any chain at any block number. And yeah, and you can fork the current chain you're on. Like if you have the Remix chain and you click this, then you can fork the local VM. So you can have two versions of the local VM. We've also input scientific notation. So like when you're making a coin contract, you don't have to write out the 18 zeros, which will hopefully get rid of some headaches. Then we have proxy contracts or upgradable contracts, but it's only the ones with a UUPS pattern. So if you have a contract that has a UUPS pattern, below the deploy, you'll see a deploy with proxy. And if you click that, then it's going to deploy both the implementation, your contract, and then the proxy. And then, so like if it's a public network, there'll be two deployments. And then when you want to interact with the function, you have to use the proxy, not the implementation. And we've got this new product called Remix Desktop. So it's just an Electron app that's wrapping Remix, but it means you can work offline, and it means you have access to the terminal, and you can also just do your coding in VS Code if you like, and then just use Remix for the debugger or for whatever other tools in there you want.
Nice. I actually I saw that was in beta, and I wanted to ask about that because I remember there was a Remix plugin for VS Code.
Yeah, we discontinued that because whenever VS Code would change their API, then we were, we couldn't, it would break. Also,
yes, that feels correct.
Also, like it's a much more graphic program than VS Code. So it was like it's forcing the wrong shape into a square hole.
Yep.
So this is just some screenshots of the Remix Desktop, but like you can see so like each instance of Remix Desktop is going to be associated with one folder.
Nice.
And then you have access to the terminal. You can do Git locally, through the terminal, or you could use the Git plugin, but probably just use the terminal Git. You can say you're working. You can see you're working online, but if like you're giving a presentation in a place where the internet is bad, or if you're working where the internet is bad, or if you're on a plane or something, you download the compilers you want, and then you go offline and work. And you're saving it to your browser storage, to your computer, not to browser storage, so it's more secure than a browser. Yeah, I kind of went through that. That's like a bunch of instances of Remix Desktop, so a bunch of folders active. And it's like accessing the same file. So you change in VS Code, it's going to immediately show up as a change in Remix, and vice versa. And now we have a browser wallet available. So the state of the desktop is it's still in beta, but I think in 2 weeks it's going to be released.
Wow. All right, we're getting breaking news, double
Yeah.
breaking news.
Yeah.
And also very brave as a developer to put a actual time frame on something. That is
Brave slash
impressive
dumb,
confidence,
but
Rob. Impressive confidence.
yeah. We've been waiting.
The timeline
That,
has slid.
that I mean, it's not just you. I have yet to see a developer that knows what 1 week is. I don't. I have no idea what 1 week is.
I
1 week I
think
think
one
is a
week is
month.
about
I think
27
it's a month.
days. But yeah, so the other cool thing about the desktop is because there's more horsepower, you can run larger proofs, you can compile larger Solidity contracts, you can use the
Nice.
local Viper compiler, things like that.
Nice. That feels nice. That feels very nice.
This is
I'm
a
I'm I'm
link.
very excited for that personally. That's
Uh,
exciting to me, and to be able to wrap everything in that Electrum kind of well wrapper, and then from there be able to have access to my terminal, like huge quality of life improvement right there. Just
yeah.
that.
Have you, and when you were using Remix, did you ever try Remix D to connect it to a folder on your hard drive?
No, I didn't. And so you have to back in. I mean, I was coding for years and years before I did Remix, but I was a hobbyist. Before this, I was a physical therapist, and it's just all self-taught coding. So I got into Remix, and I was like, "Ooh, a new toy." So I didn't really go super deep into really anything beyond. I just wanted to learn smart contracts as fast as possible, and I remember building, some basic little smart contract applications. And I got the bug, and I'm like, "Oh, this is my job now."
And was your on ramp like during in the height of COVID?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's essentially what happened where I've been building and tinkering. I had, just enjoying coding. And I've always, I mean, your, background as an architect, I'm sure you could relate, puzzle pieces, that's super
Yeah.
fun. And then that was for me in physical therapy. It was puzzle pieces and like how do we, biomechanically connect and heal? Like that was super interesting to me. And then my brain just latched on to the social aspect of Solidity. And then that became just everything. And that was pandemic. Yeah, absolutely pandemic time.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like they hit the computer hard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was an interesting time for me. I was a PT and they wouldn't let me in the office,
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll just learn Solidity and build. It was super fun.
Wow. And were you watching a lot of videos? Like who did you like to
Yeah, I mean, geez, I was looking at videos from, wow, I'm blanking right now. Patrick Collins. Patrick Collins, shout out to Patrick and his YouTube series that got me going. And that then I took it from there. And then it was what was it? It was Crypto Zombies. That
uh,
those two combined
yeah.
was the best learning environment for me. And now, I know he's doing a few other things right now, but shout out to Patrick. He's been
Yeah.
quite fundamental in my growth.
Oh yeah, so getting back to the big show,
Yeah.
if you scroll down in the template selection, template explorer, there's some ZK proof, Circom templates. Um, there's also going to be, if there's not already in there, some Noir templates. There's now a Noir compiler for you Noir people. Um, and so because it's like a Remix is a GUI tool, sometimes helpful to like learn stuff with using the GUI. So um, using the Circom plugin, like you you can take a kind of simple example like the simple.circom circuit, and you can see like the operations that you need to run on it one at a time. And like we're providing like and you could do some more research about like what's a proving scheme or like the power of tau, what's going on there, and what a constraint is, and by like between the kind of hand holding that's going on in this plugin and then doing some more investigations about what's going on in circuits, you can get a handle of what's going on. um, so like running the setup for the power of tau, computing witnesses, it's like each one step at a time. And then, you generate the proof. It also generates a Solidity file. I don't know if it's in here. Yeah, so you could wait. The Anyway, a when you're when you it'll generate a Solidity file for the verification of the proof. And if you want to submit something to that Solidity file, you put the verifier call data um, into that Solidity file once it's deployed, and it will tell you if it went through. Anyway, so go play. Wait, whoops. And there's a lot of scripting in Remix too. Now, because it's, as I said, it's a GUI tool, but if you're sick of typing or hitting the keys, you can use scripts. So you can use TypeScript, JavaScript, and you can do this thing called compile and run, which is great to set the state of your contracts as you're developing them. So you can have a script that's setting the state, and every time you hit compile and run, it'll compile the contract and immediately run the script, and it will deploy it if you want, and hit all the functions that you want to in the order you want to. And there's an example of that in 1_storage, the default contract, about how to hook that up. And also, this is just to say, there's also console.log in Remix. And there's examples of that in the example contracts. Here's some deployment. Oh, yeah, so this is compile and deploy. I don't know what that's about. You can run Mocha tests as well as Solidity tests in Remix by running the JavaScript stuff. I'm just going to go. What's this one? Yeah, we did that. Scripts. You can hit run. I don't know. You know that. Some editor. Here, this is the free function stuff. So if you have a free function is a function that's not inside the contract, and if you right click on it, then you can run a free function, which is it's another good thing to have in your toolbox. Wait a minute, I thought there was something else here. I guess there's not. Okay.
But wait, there's more.
Well, there's a little bit of, let's see. I wanted to do a little, to show you like QuickDAP.
Gonna lock into that.
So that's over here. So by clicking this button here, you get all the functions here. And well, actually, first let's like mint. I'm gonna mint it to my own address. I'm gonna mint. Let's see. So what? 12 to the 18th tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna transact. Oh. I don't see the terminal's over here. So that went through. And then, so let's, the balance of the account again, and we'll do the balance of. So I assume you all know, like when you click that, you can open up the function. And if there are like a lot of function, inputs, you can see them one at a time, as opposed to having to put a comma and push everything in this tight area. So, that's the balance of my account. And then, so then, here, I'm just going to select the logo here. And I'm going to call it a turkey token. And then I'm going to put some instructions.
Gosh, I mean, the amount of feedback you guys have put in since I remember, my intent was quickly getting to know smart contracts. I didn't go to every single feature that was there back then, but I know for sure this was not there.
No, this is kind of new, and it's going to be updated, so the UI is going to be improving. So basically, like what I'm doing is I just want to like, there's so many functions in a coin contract. Let's get rid of only the ones we want to show people. And I don't know. Okay, and then we can I'll push Mint over here to this side. And this is approve. I'm just putting some junk here, junk. Okay, and then I'm gonna give this a special, we'll call it turkey gravy. .sh. And if we had verified it on Etherscan, then there would be a link back to the source code inside a remix. So that'd be kind of cool for hackathons where you want to show the judges your work. So we're going to deploy it. I don't know why 1Password keeps doing that, but it sometimes takes a little bit, and with any luck, as I'm telling you some jokes, it will think about it and then it will deploy it. Yeah, so then we can go to this thing.
So I have to ask real quick, Rob, Andrew, which of these features that you guys personally worked on are you the most like satisfied about? You're like, all right, that was a good push by you individually. What do you feel was your favorite one currently? If you had to pick one.
I'm thinking this one for Rob, but
I mean, this one's almost after the next design iteration, or maybe the one after that, then it's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, this is really nice. I mean, the onboarding potential here for developers is just so calm. Calm and just A to B to C. That's nice.
Yeah, like for people I mean, Scaffold ETH is great, but if you're not a front-end dev and don't want to get into it,
Yep.
this like takes all the heavy lifting for you.
And that was me. I was not a front-end dev, and get me in front of a front-end framework, and I just melt. It's not my comfort zone. This feels like just better for me, and so yeah, this is very nice.
And do you think like if there was some other part here, like the graph integration, like in this panel or in another panel that could appear after?
Yeah, I mean great question. In the end, sending a RPC call to get the data from the smart contract, nothing wrong. Like that's great, but to have another option for someone to be able to get that data, I think that'd be really nice. Like we have a few different ways to. We talked before the live stream about the query generation that I was going to be working on for GraphQL with the ABI.
Here, I'll get up your plugin.
Yeah. You have my plugin.
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah,
here.
Exactly. So that is the plugin I developed, where essentially I wanted to take the ABI and generate queries on it. I think just going shy of deploying a subgraph, because you do have to go to the graph.com and use the dashboard to spin up a subgraph. I don't think that's necessarily. I'm not sure. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because it would be nice if there was some type of integration here to actually spin up a subgraph, but that does require navigating away. So curious.
I mean, it could also be, could it be done in another plugin, like another main panel plugin?
Yeah, I mean that's something. If that, yeah, maybe we could talk a little bit more about that. But I would absolutely love to have a way that a developer could easily spin up a subgraph from right inside of here, without having to run a graph node, because that would be a local option. I know you guys are doing the Electrum type of thing, which could open up like running a little graph node right here, but that's just almost too much weight.
To run the graph node, like when you're using the Graph Studio, I had a little problem when I was using the Graph Studio. Like I think the IPFS was down for they I don't know. There was something like that. They did something on their end to make it.
Yeah, something I noticed something today. Like I was on another live stream right before this, and IPFS is acting funky, and we use IPFS essentially to use as a worldwide flag for all the indexers around the world that we're making a subgraph. And so something's funky going on IPFS for me today, and I don't know. I haven't looked at, I haven't been able to look at the logs or look at our Slack, but something's going on. I'm not sure if that's our IPFS or the world's IPFS. Something's up.
Hmm. But anyway, like just to say, like in Remix, when you deploy, if you publish to IPFS and you have connection to the, like if you have Impure or something to, or a local IPFS node set up, and it's all connected, then
Yeah. I
your
mean, if you have a
your
local IPFS node right here,
then
and
then it gets verified by Sourcify automatically, so you don't need to do any verification.
yeah,
The
let's make
ABI
that
is
call.
already
I think
connected.
there's an integration opportunity here.
Yeah,
That'd be very
and
cool.
the other thing is the learning part of a Learneth tutorial. Just to give you a quick demo here, like I guess we'll go to the Solidity Beginner course. Actually, I want to bounce it over here. The Solidity Beginner course. So like if you're going over here, you can you like there's a little assignment here, and then you can check the answer. You can show the answer, so it'll show the answer. But what you were doing in your one was kind of interesting because it's doing something more than the functionality of Learneth. But maybe we could expand the functionality of Learneth to do something with the graph too.
Yeah, there is there's something here where I do want to be able to. I mean, if it's possible to pop up a browser window directly from the actual plugin right here, and it stays within Remix. I don't like multiple tabs is always bad development experience. I try to keep that as tidy as possible. But I'm imagining like if there was a button to have a pre-populated or at least direct browser link, and it goes right there, and they could start taking their smart contract and it plugs directly in. There's something there.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of interesting user flows too could happen.
Yeah, yeah, and also to have a Learneth kind of you know documentation as they're doing it. That'd be super cool.
And the other thing which I was kind of interesting too was like when you go to creating a where are we? Template selection. Go here and we go to a new ERC20 token. So we get this like menu of choices, which is like it's kind of customization stuff, similar like what was going on in the Graph Studio. Yours was more sophisticated than just choosing like what to add, but I don't know. There like it was still like customizing, doing some generated customization for users.
Yeah, having some type of adaptive code, dynamic code that can. That's why I was thinking about using an LLM or something like that, a model just to do a quick run through of the ABI to generate some basic queries, because I mean the user is going to be much more attuned to exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And all that's left to do is to scaffold out the subgraph in between.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea.
Because we got the ABI, and so that's essentially that's all a subgraph needs, and then from there, we're kind of like building the bookshelves.
Yeah.
The bookshelves are the easy part. The middle part, maybe it's just literally opening up the browser window in the IDE and calling it a day.
But it's also like if the workflow is like developing the contract here, debugging it. Actually, here, I'll just show you. And then from Remix, the next step would be developing the subgraph for users. So it could be like we just link out to the subgraph if their work in Remix is done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, I mean this is like I said earlier. This is a suite. This is not just an IDE anymore. Like it's catered so well to contract developers. Where originally it felt like an IDE. Like years ago, it felt like an IDE with some like very specific smart contract features. Now it's end to end. It feels like we're now looking at how can we integrate with subgraphs, which is a pretty cool
Yeah.
problem to for a smart contract IDE to extend towards.
Yeah, it's really been since like 2023, this kind of massive uh, feature set
Yeah,
expansion.
yeah. How big is your team? I have to ask.
Or
We got 10
10.
right now.
10? Okay. I was about to say if it's just you two, I'd be like,
Tight.
how's sleep coming? Like, because there's just two of you, that'd be pretty tough.
Yeah. Now we're there's many more.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
and those 10 will be working on many more of these integrations now that we'll
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the whole. I mean, if you're the shift to desktop, the all the different integrations, that feels good. And then also branching off away from Ethereum Foundation, being able to build maybe a little bit more independently. Smaller teams always move more rapidly. That's just the nature of people. So that's cool. See, I'm excited for you guys moving into the future. Um, is there anything else you guys would like to go over? There's a few questions that we have in chat.
Oh, let's talk about those.
Sure, sure, sure. So this is a question. I don't know anything about this, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm just reading the question here. Could you talk a little bit about Noir,
Noir.
and leak some of the roadmap since we're on a streak here? Because I think he was referring to all the breaking news here.
Ah,
Noir.
so Noir is a language for circuits, but also for smart contracts.
Okay.
And it's I think they're going to have it's done by Aztec.
Okay.
Andy, interrupt me if I'm not explaining this right, but
Yeah, pretty good.
so it's EVM sort of equivalent. So it's like sort of like StarkNet. So you would need a special kind of compilation and special deployment mechanism to go there. But we're going to be having a Noir compile. We're going to have a Noir compiler. Wait, let me just check because it might already be in here.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, you can also, and the updated version, you'll be
Yeah.
able to use the Solidity verification generator. Um, we'll
Wow.
probably very soon be putting Aztec contract templates in Remix and then as an Aztec plugin itself. So combining the Noir compiler with the Aztec plugin, but you can also compile contracts.
Very
But I
cool.
guess we need a Noir circuit. I think this one is going to be right now. This is just going to be compiling circuits, not contracts. But I think the next iteration is going to be.
Yep, exactly.
I'll have to take a look at this. This is new to me. I haven't heard of Noir, so this is something that's a new
Just
thing.
like I think Circom is a pretty low level language.
Okay.
So you have to be into the nuts and bolts of how circuits are working to
Mhm.
master it. Noir is higher level,
Okay.
so it
Yeah,
should be easier to learn.
Got it. Okay. That's a little bit away from my experience here.
process over Solidity.
But the chat we have Lewis in there is very excited about this.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
If he
we
wants
are
to
too.
help, if he wants to help us like user test the plugin, please get in touch. It would be great.
Lewis, if you want to reach in to this moment here, I'm sure I can get you in contact. So
Yeah, this is all
more than
going on
happy
right
to
now. So
have you
we're building it.
some alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's see. And I think there's one more question here that I saw. This one's Andrew for you. Once again, I'm trusting chat here in that they currently building a DApp for farmers in Ghana to get access to offline liquidity with another developer that I know. His name is Justice, great young developer.
Ah,
Any tips on navigating West African market? Question for Andrew. And I confirmed with this. I was like, this seems like a question out of left field. And he's like, no, you should ask the question. I'm like, okay.
yeah. I mean, we did a whole mapping project of the deep tech landscape around the whole continent of Africa, all 54 countries, and Ghana was one of our proxy countries.
Oh, wow.
This was
Cool.
like a few years ago. So, uh, the landscape of funding there's typically this gap in the middle of it. So there's a lot of excitement around doing startups that become enterprise startups rather than global development. So there's this trying to bridge the gap um, with the rural sector, which usually gets served by NGOs and multilateral and bilateral funding and some government funding. But a lot of that comes from outside the country rather than like the regional economic development. ECOWAS is the West African Economic Development kind of consortium. So it's a great question and it's very tough. I think there are more and more links between like typical traditional tech accelerators and incubators in Accra and Lagos and Abidjan, those basic three kind of those nodes in that startup landscape. But that's the first kind of, I think, nodes to check, because that's where the VC is coming in, and there's a lot of like hybrid capital from
Mm,
VCs in those markets.
okay.
Um, Andela, if you know them, another uh, Meta funded developer talent agency. They're kind of involved in that whole landscape as well. So if you kind of onboard through them, there become more connections with funding mechanisms. Um, so that's my suggestion. Like if you're like in the local setting, looking for funding, if you are, yeah, it sounds
Okay.
like.
Yeah. So uh, the this is Lewis again. Very interesting. Matches what we see with Swiss VC. Thanks a lot. Would love to see that research data. Thank you so much to Andrew, Rob, and obviously Marcus for trusting my questions. So
um,
very cool. I'll get you
yeah,
guys in contact with Lewis. He's a good guy.
yeah.
He's here regularly in Graph Builders office hours.
Oh, cool.
Um, well,
Excellent.
guys, we're at the hour. I just want to say, from me to you, professionally and personally, this has been really, really special. Where I'm getting to meet the team that was behind a formative part of my development as a member of this community of crypto and I mean, really, really great work at what you guys have done and really creating a red carpet for developers who are not only just getting started, but this is a suite. This is not just getting started anymore. This is a fully production ready, IDE that is ready and battle tested. So this is very cool. I'm for what you guys have done, and I look forward to the next years of building and all these features coming out. It's really exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. It's been awesome to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for hopping on. Graph Builders Office Hours community out there. Thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week for another episode of Graph Builders Office Hours. And if there's any updates on Remix plugin, you'll be hearing it from me on my Twitter because I will be working on that with Rob and Andrew. This sounds like something that's pretty cool for the Graph community
Oh,
and developers
Marcus,
out
I
there.
got a quick question about the Graph
Yeah,
Studio. I was just
sure.
trying to select Sepolia, and I
Yeah.
didn't see it in the list. Is it
Go all the way down, scroll all the way down to test nets, and it might
Oh,
be
I
in the
see. Okay,
bottom. Yeah,
maybe I didn't see that
yep,
part.
yep. We don't do it purely alphabetical. It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
awesome
Great.
stuff. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Remember, stay on right here. I'm just going to close the stream. And thank you for joining us, audience. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.